Hey everyone, First Order here, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Now in this one we'll be discussing Jedi Fallen Order, everything we learned from Star Wars Celebration. I will be covering Jedi Fallen Order a bunch, so be sure if you're new to hit the subscribe button because I will be keeping up to date to everything with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Anyway, let's just jump right into everything we learned about the gameplay for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now we didn't learn much, but we will learn a lot more and most likely see gameplay of it at EA Play later this year, early June. Anyway, this game is a love child between Uncharted, God of War, and The Force Unleashed. Respawn Entertainment actually got old developers from Uncharted and God of War to work on this game. So this game is definitely going to have that feel of a story-based game. Speaking of story-based game, this game will be 100% a story-based single-player game. There is no multiplayer, and during the game, it has been hinted at that we will see some old fan favorite characters. Possibly, my hope, Darth Vader. Anyway, the game is confirmed to be in third person, as most single player story games are, with action combat. So like Force Unleashed, Uncharted, God of War, the most recent Japanese sword game that came out. I don't know what it's called, begins with an S, but anyway. Another thing they confirmed was during the game, you will unlock new Force abilities, and with these abilities, you'll be able to visit past locations and use your new Force ability to unlock a new area of the map. When I heard this, I got Force Unleashed flashbacks, like when you play through the game, you visit all the planets as a Sith, but then you turn into a Jedi, and you revisit those planets with new abilities and new customization and new lightsabers. So it's going to be similar to that, but instead of visiting the same map, let's say, for example, this is totally hypothetical right now. The game starts off and you're on Tatooine, okay? And 3 planets later, you're on Geonosis and you learn a new Force ability. With that new Force ability, you'll be able to go back to Tatooine, use that Force ability, and unlock a new area of the map to explore more. And with each planet going on, you'll be able to find new items and upgrade old items. So for example, I think the lightsaber is going to play a huge part for the game. So during the Jedi Fallen Order panel, they did not go into details of the lightsaber, who it is. They said that it's kind of spoilerish. So I'm guessing that lightsaber is going to be your main character's customization point, other than the clothing that he wears. So the more you go through the game, the more you'll be able to add to your lightsaber. You may be able to find new saber crystals and change the color of the blade. You may be able to find a second part to your blade. I noticed that the bottom is broken. It looks like it could possibly be a staff. So you could probably upgrade your lightsaber into a staff. You could just change the hilt. The lightsaber will be yours at the end of the game. That's what I'm trying to say. As you play through the game, you'll be able to find new items and upgrade old items to your character. And speaking of customization, customization is confirmed to be in Jedi Fallen Order. However, since they paid money to get an actor, it's going to be similar to The Force Unleashed, where you have a main character, Starkiller, or a cow, but you won't be able to change what he looks like. It's not going to be customization like Star Wars The Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic. It's going to be like The Force Unleashed, where you can change the lightsaber color, you can change the lightsaber, and you can change your outfits that the protagonist wears. And now let's talk about development just real quick. Something that surprised me, this game actually started development in 2014, making it the longest time spent developing a Star Wars game since The Force Unleashed. The new Battlefront games take about, I think, 2 years to make, and with Battlefront 2 they just copied and paste assets anyway, so that took faster. So this game took the longest to make, which I'm super excited about, because games that have a long time in development tend to be a lot better than those with shorter development times. Something that I'm thinking is a blessing and a curse is that there's no plans for DLC currently. They want to focus on the main game, which is good, because if you write your story and make a story-based game with the idea of DLC later in the future, that could disable your game to its full potential, If you make people buy the second part of the DLC or you just give it to free. For example, Battlefront 2, I've heard rumors that the second part of the campaign was always intended to be a part of the main story, but they didn't have enough time to finish it, so they just added it on later to DLC. So things like that could cripple your game, but at the same time, if there's no DLC, then once people beat the game once or twice, they're never going to touch it again. This game's going to be alive and dead probably before 2020. And that's the thing that I'm also worried about, since Battlefront 2 can cover for a much longer time because that game's constantly being developed and being added onto, while Jedi Fallen Order will have its month of popularity and then will die out. Take the Spider-Man game, for example, or God of War. Yeah, those games are really good, but do you see any people talking about them still, other than diehard fans? No, because you've played through them once, 3 times, 5 times, and there's nothing else now. You've beat the game. So that's what I'm kind of worried about. Like, Respawn can still make their one story. For example, let's just say Cal dies. Let's say your protagonist dies of Mustafar by the hands of Darth Vader. Okay? They can still add DLC, and you can play as different characters. You can play as the second sister, as other Inquisitors, hunting down Jedi. You can play as other people and have the DLC within the story, but just not affecting the main storyline. Like the Batman Arkham games. They have DLC that does not affect the main story. The DLC is other characters with its own mini story. That's what I'm hoping for. Another thing that was confirmed at Star Wars Celebration, EA apparently had no say in the development of this game, which I'm actually surprised for, because Battlefront 2, DICE definitely did not want the star card pay-to-win system at launch. EA forced that upon them, and this game has been in development since 2014, so it's before they screwed up with Battlefront 2. So I don't know if that's just recently, like now they want to give Star Wars, just let them handle it because they screwed up with Battlefront 2, or it's Respawn, and since EA trust Respawn with Titanfall 2, and Respawn were the people who made classic Call of Duty games, so, you know, maybe they trust Respawn with developing this game. Maybe that's it, I don't know, but the writers also worked hand in hand with the Lucasfilm story group, which is also a good thing. You had to keep everything within the canon, and the person who wrote Cal wrote for both Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, so we can trust this guy and trust that Cal will be similar to characters within that show. Jedi Fallen Order is also already available for pre-order. However, I don't suggest pre-ordering the game until EA Play. We don't know what's going to be in the Deluxe Edition other than they've confirmed that the Deluxe Edition will have some short documentary clip on the making of the game from the directors, but that clip will definitely be on YouTube eventually sometime before or after the game's released. And also, this is with most EA games, we'll probably be able to play it 3-4 days early before everyone else, but at the same time we don't know what else is going to be in it. Apparently on the Respawn website they have confirmed that there will be some cosmetic items, but what are those cosmetic items? Like, is it really worth it? Like Battlefield 5, you got some cosmetic items for the Deluxe Edition, but that wasn't worth it at all. So you gotta see if it's worth it. Like if it's a different character skin, like I remember Force Unleashed 2 having a Boba Fett skin. So if it's like something cool like that, then yeah, pre-order the Deluxe Edition if you want to. But again, I'd like to hesitate pre-ordering the game before we see actual gameplay and we know what we are pre-ordering. So yeah. And another final thing, this game was made in a different engine than Battlefront 2. I saw a thread of developers discussing the game, and someone asked whether or not DICE gave them assets for like the Stormtrooper or something, but since the game's in a different engine, it wouldn't work. So this game was developed all the way from scratch. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tomorrow I'll be making a video on whether or not Barriss is the second sister, so stay tuned to that unless anything else drops in terms of Star Wars leaks or anything. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, blast like, and all that good stuff. And if you are new, why don't you subscribe to stay up to date with all things Star Wars. Anyway, this is the First Order, signing out.
Trust only in the Force.